Jason. I'm here from Experiences in Channeling. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again. So, what I want to talk about today is just two things. One of them is spiritual networks, and the other one is spiritual warfare. Those are the two things that I am working on these days. So, first of all, spiritual networks. Let me just start with that. So a few years ago, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, I met a man in Japan. So I live in Japan, and he is a pastor at a revivalist church. A revivalist church is a church where they practice revival, spiritual warfare, basically. They try to bring... I'm going to butcher this. I'm not going to be able to explain it in the best way, but they do a lot of spiritual warfare, basically. They try to clear energies. And that's not going to be, I think people who are in revivalist churches will be upset with it. I'm sorry. That's not a good, but basically from my understanding of what he did was he was praying over different areas in Japan that had a lot of negative energy. So the place where his church is located was located near one of the largest and most gruesome battles that ever happened in Japan. It was the beginning of the introduction of shotguns into Japan, and at that time it was one army had shotguns, the other one just had samurai swords, and it was just a massacre, and it was just the fields are just covered in blood, and people go to the local shrine there, and they are afraid of all the people that passed away. They're afraid of their spirits, and so they go to appease their spirits. They make offerings to those spirits, and that just it's not a good thing. It just causes more problems. You just let them go. Let them go. You don't feed them. It's like a stray cat or stray dog. Don't feed them. They'll go away if you don't feed them. So, but anyway, so he realized this in his prayers, and he saw that. And so that's one of the things he's doing, is kind of clearing up that energy. And, oh, hey, Michael, good to see you too. Yeah. Feels like forever. And that's what I had been doing before, and I didn't even know that anyone else was doing that. I didn't know that that was a thing, spiritual warfare. It never came into my field of vision, and I had been doing it at different shrines all over Japan. In the area that I live, I would just find myself at a shrine, and end up doing some clearing work. And it wasn't that I was, I'm going to clear this place. It was just I was called to these different places to clear them. And so it was a calling. Yeah, it's just a calling. But it was really nice to know that there's someone else that is doing that. And so one thing that he told me, and I thought was very interesting, was about these spiritual networks. So I think it was and I'm not a historian and I'm not an academic, so forgive me if I'm getting the dates wrong. But I'll make it vague that way I won't get in trouble. There's a period of time when Japan, as most of you probably know, Japan considered the emperor to be a god. He was the sun god. He was related to Amaterasu, which is the sun god. And but then after World War II, they had to stop saying that he's a god, right? But that idea of saying that he was a god or thinking that it was God hasn't existed that long in Japanese history. It was created at a certain period of time, and I'm gonna just go for the Meiji period, but I may be wrong. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But what Japan had realized was that all these other countries had like a national religion, whereas Japan had just, it was a mixture of Shinto and Buddhism, and it was just nice, and everyone kind of got along. But they needed like a nationalist religion, and that's when they decided to make the shrines, make them kind of more, beautify them, and also to separate the shrines from the Buddhist temples. And that was the beginning of this, and that was the time where they decided, okay, so let's call the emperor the god, and that's when that started. But so what he was saying was that, if you go around Japan, you'll see a lot of different shrines. Like this shrine is related to the emperor, this shrine is related to something else, and there's 2 or 3 different denominations. And so what he was saying was that it's a network. Each shrine is an energetic network. So all of the offerings there will go directly to the main frame, which is the the main emperor's kind of place over in Tokyo. And so that's how these shrines work. It's a network, just like a computer network. And so yes, so everything is related in that sense. So every time, for example, I used to go to these shrines because not thinking anything of it, and I would just kind of, you put in some money and then you kind of clap your hands and you kind of say a prayer. And I don't really do that anymore because a lot of some of the shrines, not all of them, but some of them, I mean, they're very powerful. They're networks, and I'm not, I'm not a paying member. So the way that my guides told me today is that, it's like your smartphone. You have a smartphone or a flip phone or whatever kind of phone you have, but you need to get a plan, right? You need to get a phone plan, and you need to pay into that plan every month. Otherwise, they'll cut you off. You're not a part of the network. And so with the phone plan, we pay in money. With the spiritual plan, you pay in energy. And this brings me to why I'm bringing this up today. So behind me, I used to have lots of crystals that I had been collecting over the past few years, and I have a Saraswati statue that I bought over in Varanasi, India, and and also some, was it tree? What is it called? Some other stuff. And anyway, so today I decided. I've recently been feeling like it's important for me to I don't need those things anymore. I don't need the crystals. I don't need crystals anymore. The Saraswati statue. They helped me out through a time in my spiritual progression. I was working through a lot of stuff and those actually helped me to understand many different things. But that kind of period is over for me. I don't need these idols, right? Basically, an idol, for example, they talk about the stone idols or wooden idols. An idol. What do you need an idol for, right? It's just a representation of something. And so I've just gotten rid of all those things. I took them down to the river, and I was going to put them in the river, but there were too many people around, and they were kind of staring at me. So I found this tree, and I kind of set them all up and said thank you for all of the help that they gave me, and hope that the tree is going to help to clear their energy. The crystals even told me, they're like, don't throw us in the river, we might break. So okay, put you in the tree. But yeah, so the tree will neutralize their energy. And then I imagine someone will probably find them and pick them up, and then they'll, when they're on their spiritual progression. So it all works out. So I just wanted to share that. Because a lot of the things that we own have connections. So one of the things my guys are saying about the crystals is that we think that we're clearing a crystal, right? You clear the crystal and it's yours now. You've reprogrammed it. But you can never deprogram a crystal. The crystal has a memory of everything that's ever happened to it. So crystals are quite old, much older than probably we are as a race. And so they have a lot of information in them. And you having that, it's just like every crystal you have is a smartphone plan, basically. So you're paying into a whole bunch of different things with all your energy. And so the guys were saying that these connections that you have to these things, these smartphone spiritual plans, will take your energy away. And so if you find that things are not working well for you, if things are not moving the direction that you want them to go, it could be that you're being drained by certain things that you have, certain things that you're holding on to. So this is what I was given today. And so that's all I wanted to say about that. I think that's all my guides told me about it. Yeah, that it's time to let go. And they're saying it's just time to let go of these things. You don't need them anymore. All you need is you. You are perfect. You have everything that you ever need. And so these objects that you have representing hope or representing all these different things, you're just holding on to nothing. It's just nothing. It's just dust. It's just sand, and it'll blow away. It has no meaning. But you have meaning. You are the hope. And so you're bringing the hope. You don't need any of those things to bring you the hope. Especially, unless you're, super energetically rich. Yeah. So Michael, you say smartphone plan crystal. Yep. So the reason that I've come up to this, though, is that I've reached this place within my spiritual practice, right? Over the past few years, I was trying to figure out when I started this spiritual practice, but I think it's just always been going on in the background. But I realized today, or a few days ago, I saw this yellow butterfly or yellow moth or whatever it was, and it reminded me that, so when my daughter passed, I contacted her. She contacted me in a dream, and she told me, she said, whenever you see a yellow butterfly, anywhere you see them, that's her, and that she's there just to remind me that she's there and that there's nothing to worry about. And so I realized, like, oh, well, that was before I even started channeling, that this information had been downloading, I've been getting it, and I've just and it's interesting. It's interesting to look back at where everything started. But so this this idea of spiritual progression. So I've kind of progressed through. When I started out channeling, I was bringing in some kind of lower level things, not necessarily lower level, but like I think I was going through a lot of stuff, cleaning out a lot of junk in my system, and so I was contacting with a lot of different beings that weren't all love and light. They were the opposite. And not on purpose, but that was where my frequency was. And so, but that by going through that process, I was able to understand how all of these different things work and how they work and how. That was part of my progress. I guess me as a person, I really wanted to understand how everything kind of works. I needed to go through that, and so I went through all of those things. And now I'm at a very, very different place than I was then. But I'm very thankful for all of the different experiences I had. I mean, they were pretty insane, and some of them were not much fun. But it was a good learning experience for me. And so, but now where I'm at a place where I've discovered spiritual warfare. In the sense of not in the sense of going out and clearing places, like I'm going to take down this energy, but just purifying my space, purifying my place. So I was sometimes, not as much as before, but still do. I get psychically attacked, and I think it's a part of what happens if you put yourself out there, like publicly. But even before I was putting myself out publicly, I was getting attacked. So in dreams, and different beings kind of coming into my room, and I seeing them kind of coming in, and in meditation, different beings coming to kind of feed off of my energy, and all of these different things. I mean, it's a weird, wild world. But I didn't. So I tried all these different things, right? The crystals and all these things, like trying to figure out how can I get these things away from me. I don't want this, And some people might say, oh, because you opened yourself up to channeling. No, this has been happening since I was a little kid, before I even knew about this stuff. So that's not it. But so I've been doing the spiritual warfare now, where I found a really good prayer, but the idea of spiritual warfare that I've been learning and I've been channeling and also I've been reading about is that it's a legal system. So now I'm talking about spiritual warfare. What is spiritual warfare? Spiritual warfare it's a legal system in the sense that you are how can I put it, within this third dimensional realm. How can I put it in the best way? There's a legal system. The spirituality works with a legality system, and the people that are working on the dark side are very, very legalistic. They are they follow the rules. It may seem that they're not following the rules, but they are following the rules to the T. And that's what's kind of interesting about this. But these rules are something that we're not taught. We on the, just normal people are not taught these rules. And so it's easy for them to trick us into different things. The rules are that for example, we can open up our energy fields to things. So if we have like trauma or fear or sadness or all these different things, these are openings. Or if someone says something bad about us, or we say something bad about someone else, all of these things are places where they can they're openings, they're little portals for them to come in. And legally they will, come in and say, well, you said this or you did this. So, you opened up a portal, you opened up a gateway to us. And it's kind of how it works, right? But if you're aware of it and you're aware of that, you can state it with using your voice. You state it, that I, all of these things that are binding me have no I can't even explain it very well, but there's a prayer that I use to do that, to get that away. And the prayer is nice because it's non-denominational. It doesn't use any of the names. It just uses God, which is fine. I don't like all the names. It just confuses things even more. But so it's a legal thing, and so there's something that I read about before by a woman named Laura Worley, and she was talking about the courts of heaven, and then I just stumbled upon this other guy who wrote a book about using the courts of heaven, and that when you go into the courts of heaven, you will, so you will be represented. For example, if you are a Christian as Jesus, or if you're not Christian, whatever, Buddha, whatever you want to choose, and then the other side, there's the demon or whatever, and who's stealing your energy, or stealing your flame, basically, stopping you from things happening in your life, stopping everything. And so, but they have a legal right, and they are arguing their right. And so you go into this and say, I forgive whatever this problem was, and I let it go. And and that's how it works, and that's how you work in this. So that's what I'm operating on these days. I've been attacked a lot recently, and I shared this with the group, that these what's it called? So I say the prayer before I go to bed, and then also say it in the morning after I wake up, and it protects me in my sleep for the most part. But sometimes I'll wake up in the middle, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll have to kind of, break any boundaries that are coming in. If someone has come into my dreams, depending on how, what's going on in their world, these people don't sleep very much. Whoever are doing this stuff. But yeah, principalities. We're fighting against principalities, and so what's been happening though is that where I sleep near the veranda, and on the veranda every morning I go outside, and I'm seeing all these dead ants right by where I'm sleeping, and there's just a line of dead ants, and they're not just dead, but they're like taken apart and they're smushed, which is like, I don't know what's doing this, but I talk to my guides, and that's the ants are actually doing God's work, they're creating the boundary line, they're creating the line for me. And so the being that's trying to get in is just so upset and just stomping on these ants. And so anyway, that's where I'm at right now. My situation, at a place of spiritual warfare. It's not a place of fear. It's just a place of understanding. So that I think I have a lot of legal issues. There's a lot of things that are, I know it's kind of bloodline stuff, and it's also just stuff like there's a lot of saboteurs around, and that's fine. This is all part of the process. This is how you learn. This is how you grow. So that's what I wanted to share today. And I hope it's not scary or anything for anyone, because it's not scary for me. It's just, it's just what I'm going through, and it's part of the spiritual progress. We're all going through this spiritual progression, and we're learning. I'm learning. I'm at a different place than I was a few years ago with all of this stuff, and I'm just going through it. And Michael, you say ant army. Yes, the ant army. Yeah, fighting. They're fighting for me. I have a lot of gratitude to those little ants. I think I'll just go into a channeling. I haven't been going to channelings on these. I've been separating them. I'll maybe release the other channeling that I did this morning, the walking channeling, but it's a bit harsh. They're really, but maybe that's, well, so I'm just going to go into a channeling now, just to balance out the energy of all this stuff that I'm talking about, and see. All right, guides, so what do you have to say? It's the first live channeling in a while, so here we go. Whew, these are pretty, it's kind of scary, but here we go. Greetings. We are that one that you know of as Mary Magdalene. We are here We're here with all of you, and what we'd like you all to know is that you are very, very much loved and you're very, very much appreciated. A lot of you in your lives might feel this at this moment, that you're not loved or you're not appreciated enough. All of the work that you're doing is not being seen by the people around the world, but understand that it is being seen by us, that we are seeing all of the beautiful things that you're doing within your heart, within your world, within your everyday. And even though the people around you might not be able to see it, and we see how beautiful you are. You are beautiful beings of light doing beautiful work on this beautiful planet. Never ever underestimate the power that you have to change the world. All of these beautiful little things that you do that you don't think affect anyone else around the world are affecting everyone else around the world. You are saving the world one kind act at a time, one kind word at a time, one kind feeling at a time. All right, so there you go. All right, so all right, so talk to you guys later. I hope you are hopeful, and yeah, ciao for now. Thanks, Michael, for joining in.